Great Whisperer podcast. This is your host, Katie Ray. I am joined with the Squats and Margaritas woman, Erin Washington. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very excited. I actually met you because one of my very good friends was on your podcast. And I was like, wow, I love this woman. And so, of course, we do all the IG stalking necessary. And I was like, how much fun is she? I love real conversations. I love just people being just authentically, of course, themselves. So I appreciate you and all of your realness and your book and your blogs and all the things.
Well, I hope I live up to that.
Thank you. No pressure, zero pressure.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, I mean, going into, so I married a D1 athlete from college, right?
Oh.
So there's a lot of pressures that come with that. So you being an athlete too, I think just going into that and all like really the stress that's on you as an athlete and kind of what happened with eating disorder and healthy habits and things like that when you were younger.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm a firstborn perfectionist and everything had to be just so. And it can be like a compliment. Like if somebody's like, oh my gosh, you're so driven, like you work so hard, but it can also take a left and get into like some dangerous things. If you hold yourself to such a high standard, like you mentioned, I was struggling with anorexia in high school when soccer was the only thing that mattered to me. And I think now it was just that like thin equated to like fit for soccer and everything was about soccer. So I had to be super skinny and I could run faster. So I drastically reduced my calories in high school, only like focused on getting my D1 college scholarship because soccer is all that mattered. And I ended up, we were back-to-back state champions in high school. Like I never came off the field, had all the confidence in the world. But when I went to college, I wasn't seeing playing time. And I didn't really know what to do with that. And when you put everything into a Division I sport, like I'm sure your husband knows, and you're not seeing playing time, like it just kind of feels like nothing that you do matters. I mean, our entire day, we would get up and lift, and then you had to go to classes because you're a student as well. And then you had to go to the training room and then to practice and then lifting and study hall. And it was all that I did. And to not see anything come out of it and not get on the field, it was like the worst situation I've ever been in. And I felt like it didn't matter how hard I worked. I wasn't playing. So midway through my sophomore year, I quit kind of on a whim and was like, well, this isn't fair. I'm done. And I didn't really think it through. And at that point in my life, I fell into a deep depression. I threw everything into soccer and it was gone in an instant. And so it was like, what else is there? I don't know why I valued soccer so much. I was homecoming queen. I was prom queen. None of those things held any weight. It was just for me, my value was soccer. And when that was gone and I was still living in the soccer house, didn't think this through. My teammates would like go to practice and then go to an away game and like be out of town. And I would just be in the house. And when you mid-season stop a Division I strength and conditioning program and you eat normally, you're going to gain weight because you're not, working out like you were. And initially, I think I found bulimia as a way to hopefully get rid of some weight. And it became something that I couldn't get a grasp on. It took over my entire life. I hid it from everyone. I lived with 6 girls in college and nobody knew. And all I would think about was the next time I could binge and purge. And in hindsight, I think that it was something that I could control in a time in my life where everything else was out of control. That's all I did. And I didn't truly stop doing it for 10 years following that. Like my entire life, when I quit soccer, went downhill, struggled with depression, again, the multiple eating disorders. But I went through all of that to be able to do what I do now and inspire other women. And my story, hopefully can show someone that's still in it, still in the bulimia, still in the depression. Like, I mean, you name it. I was in a bad relationship. I came out on the other side and now I try to inspire other women to do it too.
Yeah. And that's super important too for younger generation that are in that sport, gymnastics, sport like soccer, and just to hear that you know that there is other stuff besides this, and to focus on yourself and your health. I think it's just empowering altogether. And I love it because, you know, I always make jokes about my trauma as well. Like you just like, you know, like you make like jokes to make people feel more comfortable. Like we all go through
Yeah.
it, but we came out at the other end. And
Yeah.
when was it? I mean, now, especially for your kids too, they get to understand the struggles, and you get to show them what it feels like to really love yourself and your body and find balance with squatting and drinking margaritas. And which is very important. Which is very important. But I love that, you know, what we posted the other day about like, is anybody staying sober or like trying not to drink and stuff? And, you know, I've been like not really drinking. I mean, if you go back to college days, you don't stop. But like
pandemic,
you know,
Katie, the pandemic took us all down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think mothers.
Yeah, that's when everybody started.
Yeah. And I always am like, mom's like, gotta drink my wine at the end of the night. No, I don't shame that at all. But sometimes I'm like, I don't feel good with that headache in the morning. But, you know, I socially do it because I network a lot and stuff. So like I'll have one, but I'm able to stop, or one or two. Exactly. And then you're like, good. And it's like, that feels good to be able to
squats and margaritas is moderation. Yeah. Moderation is where I live now. And after literally 20 years of depriving myself, restriction, over exercise, now I live in a point of balance, and I'm not on the cardio machine 7 days a week. And I'm not, you know, eating clean and not drinking during the week. And then on the weekend, you go on a bender and you drink all the things. Yeah. Because it's your drinking day. And then I would like drink the bottle of wine Sunday night because I'm like, oh, I can't have it on Monday. I lived with so many hard rules. And honestly, Katie, I weighed 20 pounds more when I lived that way. When I just found this lifestyle balance, I calmed down. I stopped like calculating everything. And like when I go on vacation, I'd have to make sure that there was a gym, and I would set an alarm to get in a run. I would like miss out on time with my family, chasing this physical ideal that I never found when I was living with restriction and deprivation. Now I order what I want. I don't usually eat a ton of it. It's like, I'm just intuitive. Like if I fish tacos, that's my favorite thing to eat. If I would have ordered it in my past life, when I used to live in restriction, I would have ordered no cheese, no sour cream. It'd basically be a floured tortilla with a piece of fish in it. They give you like 4. I would eat all of them because I would rationalize that it's fat-free. And, you know, I didn't enjoy it. My brain and my stomach were never satisfied. So you just keep eating it because it's not something that's satisfying to you. Now I order the fish tacos exactly how they come: sour cream, guacamole, cheese. I eat one. I take a second. I check in. Usually one is never going to do it. Have another one. And then I'm like, I'm satisfied. It's like, how often are you eating just because there's 2 more on the plate? And if you just live that way, you would be surprised how little you need for your brain to be satisfied. Like I don't even need that much. I can eat 2 of them. I definitely don't feel deprived. I got fish tacos. So now it's like, I eat what I want. I have drinks in moderation. And what you're referencing, I admittedly got away from the moderation during the pandemic. I mean, I had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I would find myself drinking earlier and earlier, like pouring that wine earlier in the day. And I just started sharing my journey. Like I'm not trying to be sober. I don't think that the hard limit of sobriety would work well for me with my hard limit and like eating disorder past. So all I did was just be more cognizant of it and just drink. I drink, but I don't drink a ton. And I wake up, like you said, feeling so much better. I don't feel like I'm missing out because I'm not sober. Like I'll have a cocktail, but it's like, do you need that second one? Like, do you need one more glass of wine before you go to bed when it's just going to F up your sleep? Just being conscious of your drinking has been everything for me. I didn't have to go to full sobriety. If you are struggling, maybe look at sobriety. But for me, it was just getting back to the moderation that I preached and I kind of veered away from during the pandemic. It's a balance.
To tell people, that, you know, like you give yourself grace. And I did, you know, I got off of my moderation track, but you're self-aware. So it's like a total different journey. When was your aha moment though, during your journey, that moderation was key, and that was the way you were going to be able to stay balanced and everything with working out and eating? Because again, you come from a very strict regimen of just working out all the time as an athlete. So it's like, and knowing that you don't have to work out 4 times a day.
So I was working out at a gym, and I had just had my son, and I couldn't blame baby weight at this point. Like it was like a year after. And he's like, this trainer's like, you come in every day. You're so frustrated. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I work out 7 days a week. I barely eat and I can't lose a pound. And he's like, well, yeah, like your body has stopped working. Like, he's like, your metabolism turned off because you overexercise and you underfuel your body. And I'm like, that is what women are taught my whole life. It's calories in versus calories out. Just make sure that you're burning off more than you put in. Do your cardio. You know, the men are in the weight room. And that failed me, Katie, for 20 years, from 16 to 36, like living that way, like depriving myself, restricting cardio every day. This trainer was just like, you need to eat more. And at that point I had tried every diet. I tried throwing up my food. I've done everything. I can't lose weight. So I'm like, okay, what do I have to lose? I started eating more often and I lost 5 pounds. I don't know, say in like 2 weeks. For me to lose an ounce, I was like, whoa. And I'm eating more. So like it blew my mind. And he's like, your body needs to trust you. Like, as long as you're eating, then it's going to be like, okay, we're good. She's going to eat. We can burn it. But when you're barely eating, or your body doesn't know if you're going to throw up the food, your body doesn't know if you're going to have a second workout, which I used to do. It's like trying to keep you alive. So it's going to hold on to everything you put in it. So when I just trusted him that like, you start to eat more. And if someone's like hesitant about this, you don't have to eat, like I said, fish tacos or whatever you want. Eat healthy things, but eat all the time, every couple hours. And just watch, you start to feel hungry again. Your metabolism turns back on. Your body starts to trust that you're going to fuel it for the exercise that you're going to do. And there's another piece, and it's lifting. And I feel like not enough women know about this. And I need to spread this message that if you lift, you are not going to bulk.
I love
you are going, you're going to tone. Yes. And look at you, you're going to tone and you're going to speed up your metabolism, because when you put more muscle on your body, muscle is the most metabolically active tissue. So the more muscle you have, the more you're going to burn, even when you're not working out. So now I work out 3-4 times a week, maybe 30 minutes, and I focus on strength training. And before I would work out 7 days a week, 90 minutes cardio, just sweating, thinking I'm sweating, I'm going to burn more calories. I was always watching the calorie count go. And I'm like living my life frustrated, 20 pounds heavier. Like, what the hell? I'm doing everything right, but I wasn't. The balance of nothing is off limits, lifting heavier and eating more often changed everything for me. And when I was living with restriction and something was off limits, I just wanted it more. So it's like, if you just make everything allowed, nothing is off limits. You're not going to like binge on it over the weekend. You're not going to have cheat days because it's something that you have every day, and it's less tempting. It's like, oh my gosh, wine. I have a glass of wine every day. So I don't have like a Friday night where I drink a bottle of wine, because it's not that exciting to like, or a margarita. It's like, oh my gosh, I went out and I had 7 margaritas. Like, I never do that because margaritas are a part of my lifestyle, and they're just not as on a high pedestal of like this no thing, or this like only on the weekends thing. It's worked for me. And I wrote a book to the woman that was living like I was living before, that there's a different way and you can actually enjoy your life and find your physical ideal.
Yeah. And I think what the important piece of that is, like, the moderation piece does work, because you're not taking away everything for the week. You're right. The weekend binge is real. Like, oh yeah, I can't wait till Friday. I'll have 4 bottles of wine because I haven't been able. No, if you would have had a glass of wine each day, you wouldn't have felt so in the need of just like getting ridiculous. And just
so I've talked to people about this before, and I said exactly what you said. And somebody was like, be careful, because you can't assume that everyone can moderate.
Yeah.
So if you tell people just have a glass of wine every day, and it's like some people can't moderate, for me, exactly what you just said works, because I don't feel the need. I'm not hungover because I don't feel the need to like get in all my drinks, or just when nothing is off limits. It's like when you would go to a wedding and they're passing around like wedding cake and you're like, oh no. Then you have a bite. What I would used to do would be like, oh, I had a bite. I broke it. I blew it. Might as well eat the whole cake and start over on Monday. But if you live with balance, it's like you had a bite of cake, eat, or have a piece of cake. Don't have a piece of cake after every meal. But it's like, I just make little allowances during the day. If I have a beer, sometimes I'll have an IPA with my lunch, then I won't have one with dinner. Or like if I go to a happy hour and have a margarita, then I'm not going to have a drink with dinner. Or sometimes I do, like I'll have a second one, but I'm not going to have one right before bed because it's going to mess up my sleep. It's just being conscious of it, and not, I feel like for the pandemic, I would just blindly pour another glass. And it's like a habit. But if you're just aware, like you said, like you just have that self-awareness, I didn't have to go to complete sobriety to like make a lifestyle change that has made me feel so much better. I don't feel like I'm missing out because I still have drinks. And so it's like something that I stick to because I'm not going to quit on this balanced lifestyle that's like easy to manage, if that makes sense.
And how have you noticed maybe the difference between your pregnancies and the difference just between like with your family now that you've found a balance for yourself?
I'm a happier mother, spouse, like friend. When you are frustrated with something, and for me, it was my weight, or like just, I was 20 pounds heavier. I felt like I was doing everything I could. I was constantly thinking about calories and when I could get a workout in. And it just loomed over me. And it's like, you're short with your husband, you're short with your kids, because it's not them, it's the thing. And it's like, whatever the thing is, for me, it was my weight. Until you get that out of your life or you acknowledge it or address it, it's just going to be there. Like I talk about it now, like even with my bulimia, I never in a million years thought I'd be talking about this on a podcast. Like, no, I was going to the grave with this. I didn't want anyone to know. But what I had thought is that I stopped doing it. And it was like, whew. I mean, I haven't thrown up my food in 17 years, but I never acknowledged it. And I just kept thinking like it was there, but I don't physically harm my body anymore, but I never said it out loud. And then when I went to write my book, a writing coach was like pushing me, and she was very direct. And she's like, why would anybody listen to you? Are you a trainer? Are you a nutritionist? And I'm like, no, but I've done all the things and I've found a better way. And she's like, if there's any kind of struggle or story, you need to share it, or no, you have no credibility. Why would anyone listen? And I kept going like, no, everybody will find out. The moment she got me to write it, the moment I wrote it, it didn't even get back to her yet. It was just out on the paper. Katie, it felt like just a weight just dropped off my shoulders. Like it was released, it was out. And now it's like so easy and common for me to talk about it all the time, because the big thing that I was still living with, even though I wasn't doing it anymore, was acknowledged almost like to the universe. I put it out and it was like off me. So if you are carrying something, even if it was something from childhood or something that you don't do anymore, but you've never really acknowledged it, write it down, tell a friend, release its grip on you. And I'm just like such a happier person. Like everybody knows everything about me. I have no secrets. I share everything now. And I'm happy in this balanced life. And I happen to find my physical ideal body by living with balance and enjoying my life. Whereas for 20 years, I was miserable in pursuit of this, like thinking, well, I'm miserable, but at least I can be skinny. And I wasn't skinny because I was just living in like a stressed out state. So balance changed everything for me. And I just want to pass that on to the next woman.
Yeah. I mean, I think I love that you want to do that, because you've come to such a good place and healthy place. And you're like, I just want other people to know that it's okay to have gone through this struggle, but it's just so much better on the side.
Yeah. And if I can come out of it, like I write about it in my book, like wiping the vomit out off the bottom of my feet and like trying to clean up before my roommates can come. Like, even if you're in that right now and you feel like you can't stop, I was there. I remember vividly, I talk about this in the book. It was a snowstorm, like a blizzard, like schools were closed. I didn't have kids yet at this point, but I remember walking through DC to find like a convenience store or something that I could find all the processed things to binge and purge on. And I was like, I was very clearly like in my body and thinking in the moment, like, it's like, I was like a drug addict, like out to get a fix. I was like, you were out here in a blizzard. And Katie, I still didn't stop, because if I went for treatment, then people would know what I was doing. And it was like pride. I didn't want anyone to know. So if you're in it and you think you can't stop, I felt the same way. And I would say for sure, you should go and talk to somebody so you don't have to live with it for another second. Like I lived with it 10 years. And if I had just gone to treatment and put my shame aside, I could have moved on with my life 10 years ago.
So did anybody in your family know before you wrote the book?
I had to sit down with my family. They knew something was off. So I don't know how much you know about bulimia, but I felt like people assume you throw up your food, you're skinny, but it was quite the opposite.
Totally opposite. I was senior year. I was bulimic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're puffy and bloated, and like they could definitely see like something was off with my health, but no one's thinking eating disorder because I wasn't thin. Yeah. I was just in this bloated puppy. So they didn't know that I was doing that, but they knew obviously something was going on. They knew about my anorexia in high school because a coach was like, you need to, like, your crosses aren't strong anymore. You have no muscle. You're so thin. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it's messing up soccer, the only thing that matters. So then I started eating. And are you familiar with exercise bulimia, where you just work off the same amount of calories?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that for a while, thinking like I would write down, okay, 300 calories, and I would go on an elliptical, 300 calories, and did that like going through college. And then when I lost soccer and my identity and only thing that mattered to me, like it was full on depression, bulimia, all the things. And I came out of it. And if I can come out of it, there's nothing special about me. I came out of it, and you can too. I mean, that's my whole purpose in life now. When I get a DM from somebody that's like, you're the first person that I've told, like my husband doesn't know that I am struggling. And I'm like mentoring these people. Like I get to the point where I'm like, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to say. Like, I'm not a professional, but I'll be here. And if I'm making you feel seen, or that, you can say this out loud, then that's my purpose. And that's what I'm supposed to do.
What was your spouse's reaction to just everything that you had gone through?
He met me. He's kind of like the part of, I was just coming out of my bulimia when I met him, and I was still had a really low self-worth, self-esteem. I met him when my husband was a former NFL linebacker, and I met him after his best season, like went to the Pro Bowl, and I have no self-worth and I'm throwing up my food, like just kind of coming out of that. So he knew I dealt with a lot of self-esteem stuff. Like anywhere we went, like we'd be having a great conversation, and then somebody would recognize him, and like women would come up to the table. It didn't matter what he said. Like the rest of the night I was done, because I was like, oh, they're skinnier, they're prettier. I was just in my head, and he knew more like the mental stuff. He didn't know about the physical abuse that I was doing to my body, but I mean, he's proud of me that I share it. I mean, it's turned into what it is now. It's a book. I have a show on Podcast One.
I love it.
And it's just spreading the message. And I have talked to other women. Like I specifically try to talk to women in the public eye that I know will be open. Like, for example, Katie Couric talked about her bulimia on my show. And if nobody knows who I am, so it's like, Katie Couric. And if she is saying her too, it's like, okay, like you're not alone. It's such a shameful thing to deal with. So I just try to bring light to, like, I deal with anxiety, eating disorders, anything that somebody might be living with and thinking they're the only one. You are absolutely not the only one. And I try to talk it through with my guest every week. Talk about mom struggles, just any struggles that you're sitting on thinking you're alone. You're not alone.
And you feel the shame, like for some reason we feel shame over something.
Yeah.
We talk about addiction a lot on my show. It's just important for people to realize everybody goes through stuff. And you're not going to be judged. Just in talking about it just changes the game for people.
Yeah. And it's not the end. Like you're going through it, but there's more after this. It's like, just address the thing so you can move on and see what's next. And I never in a million years thought I would host a podcast that's about wellness when I was throwing out my food and putting my boyfriend's name in message boards, making sure he wasn't cheating on me. Like I was a mess. Yeah. And now I have this platform to help women. It's like, if you can just focus and acknowledge whatever the issue is that's looming over you. It's the issue you're thinking of right now. Everybody that's listening to this is thinking of their thing. If you address that, there's just so much more on the other side. You don't need to carry that with you anymore.
You're so right. And you're not saying everything will be perfect. You do the work every day. I mean, you've literally, you've survived an eating disorder. It's but you're still doing the work every day.
And because I admittedly, I didn't go to treatment, I stopped doing it. I know that I don't use the right language. Like the eating disorder community comes for me saying that I still make it about a physical ideal. And I admittedly feel my best when I'm in my best physical body. But I have maintained my best physical body by taking care of my body in a healthy way. Whereas before I did all the abuse to my body. So I know that I don't say the right words. I say I'm fat phobic. I am sharing my weight loss to say, if you are a woman who's restricting and throwing up your food and over exercising, you don't need to live that way. That was my intention with sharing about the weight loss. But like you said, I live with it every day. I hate this calorie thing that every menu has a calorie next to it, or a smoothie place. And I'm trying to not worry about the calories and fuel my body. I hate, it may help some people, but I hate it because I was I don't want to think about it. I don't want to go back. Right?
Yeah.
Totally triggers me. I'm like, can I just like, I want to get this, but now I see it's 1,000 calories. And it's like, I wouldn't have even questioned it. Like, why is that there? I understand that it could help people,
Yeah.
and I had someone I was talking to about, she's like, she calls herself a serial dieter. She was like, I have that there. It's there because like, if the salad's 1,000 calories, I'll be like, oh, I'll just take off the blue cheese. I'll take off. And I'm like, but honestly, you're describing what I used to do. Then you don't enjoy it and you eat the whole thing. You overeat. It's not. So I was like, get the salad, but you'd be surprised when you get a salad with like dressing and blue cheese and what actually satisfies you. You don't even need that much. I always use this example. My sister is in like the sickest shape. She always looks fantastic. And we'd be like going out to dinner and I'd be like, salad with grilled chicken, dressing on the side, no cheese. And then she'd be like, lobster mac and cheese. And I'm like, this bitch, like whatever. But I watch her and she'll eat it. She'll eat maybe half of it. And she's satisfied and she doesn't feel deprived because she got lobster mac and cheese. And there is something to that. Like I would never order that, but now I order what I want. I don't even need a ton of it. It's not even like I have to stop myself. Like your brain is like, oh, that was satisfying. That's good. It's not these high protein, low carb cookies, I'm using quotes, that I used to eat. And I would eat the whole sleeve of them because they were low carb or high. Low carb, your body, you're not satisfied. Yeah. So you just keep eating and eating. You're eating way more calories. It's not something you enjoy. Now with my coffee in the morning, I have a cookie, a real one. And that's all I need. I don't need more because it's like my brain is satisfied that I got an actual cookie. You don't even need that much. Sometimes I eat like a half a cookie and I don't even want to finish it. But living this way was so eye-opening because I would never allow it before. And I weighed 20 pounds more living that way.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you bring up people saying that you're fat phobic or something like that. You're not saying, hi, I'm a professional, I'm going to heal you from something. I'm sharing my journey with you. I'm letting you know what's worked for me because I did come from a place where it was not healthy for myself, my mind, my body. But it also shows, because we talked about this the other day, my sisters and I, how our family would be like, eat everything off your plate. And
I say it to my kids, Katie.
So I go to my kids. I'm always like, are you full? Yeah. Don't ask me for dessert later, but like, are you full of this? Like, are you good? You don't have to finish it. Because
yes, I see what I do. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'll be like, one more bite. They'll try to get like a popsicle or something. I'm like, eat the rest. They're like stuffing their face with chicken. I'm like, we have to finish your protein. And I catch myself. I'm like, what am I doing here? But I want to show them that you eat healthy things, but food shouldn't be a reward. Like for so long, food was like punishment or something I took away, something I rewarded myself with. And I think honestly, that's why I drink every day now, because food now is an experience for me. It's like a pairing. Like if I have chicken wings or tacos, I want an IPA. If I have pasta or steak, I want a glass of red wine. I enjoy my meals for the first time in my life. It's not like a vehicle to throw up. It's not a punishment. It's an experience. And I was talking to a lady that was sober. She's like, so you think I don't enjoy my meals because I don't have a cocktail? And I was like, I don't know if I would. Like, I want to be able to have a glass of wine or have a beer, and I can moderate. Yeah. And at this point, I'm not trying to be sober, but I am going to share my journey of drinking less because I do feel amazing. Yeah. And it could help someone else that's like, maybe I should be sober. Like, it's not even, maybe you should, maybe you can explore that, but I didn't even have to go that far. It's like just being conscious of your patterns. And it's like, you're just pouring another glass. You're just going to go to bed. It's like, you're setting yourself up to feel horrible in the morning. Just be aware, have a glass of wine with dinner. You don't need and then you got the wine. You don't feel deprived. You don't feel like you need to have 2 bottles of wine on the weekend because you got it every day. And this has worked for me. I've last 3.5 years. Like I kind of really went with my platform after I had my son. I've been able to enjoy my life, find my physical ideal, and just be happy and live without all that extra stress. And I have to share this message with everyone.
And I think it's hard because not everybody's self-aware. You've come to the self-awareness where it's good for you, it feels good. And it's like people just have to do the work and put the effort in. Because it might be being sober, sometimes people's personalities, you can't just have one and feel good at the experience.
Exactly. So and in my personality, it can't be off limits. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to know yourself. That's a great point. Right. Maybe somebody should try sobriety for 30 days. I couldn't go 30 days.
Yeah.
And that's probably a problem, but I don't overdrink.
I don't think it's a problem.
I was told it was. I was like, well, I couldn't go 30 days. And they're like, well, you may want to look at that. I'm like, But when I say I
Oh.
drink every day, I'm not binge drinking every day.
Exactly. You're having
And I don't binge drink ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So I
that's
guess
how you
making that
know
clear.
who you are. Like I enjoy having a margarita. I enjoy
I
having this
do.
with my dinner. And I like how you said, like, it's the experience for you because you're not
Yeah.
feeling like I need the buzz.
Yeah. I'm
It's
so
the
glad you said that.
experience.
I caught myself at it was a comedy show. Like, when you go to like I don't know, like a convention center or something, it's like they have wine, but it's like shitty wine. It's
Yeah.
like the $5 wine and they
Uh-huh.
charge $10 for this. Before, I would make sure I went and got a wine before the show started because it was wine.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, now, why would I drink shitty wine to get a buzz? Like, it's not the buzz. But if there is a great IPA on the menu, I'm having it. Or or a great Cabernet, like, it's not for a buzz. I'm not chasing a buzz. And that's why I can have one. Because it's like, well, you had another one, you'd be more buzzed, but I'm not chasing a buzz. I enjoy how food pairs with wine or beer. And it's a part of my life. And I don't want to have it off limits because it makes it more enticing. It's like something that's, then you have a glass of wine and then you feel like you have to drink all the wine because you messed up. But if it's a part of your life, it's less enticing. And it's just not as, I don't know, like, you don't need to drink more than one because it's just something that you have every day.
And you don't feel like you're missing out. Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, okay, I didn't miss out on this. And wow, you just kind of opened my mind though, the fish taco, because I was imagining the fish tacos. I might because I'm hungry. I just did the recording. But when you were saying like, and you take off all the stuff, and I'm like, damn, that does ruin it when you take everything off.
And you eat all four. What you ate was like fish in a tortilla and it tastes gross, but you and you feel deprived. Yeah. But it's like, eat two of them, but the way they're prepared, and you don't even need the four because your body is like, oh my God, I got guac, I got cheese. Not a ton. It's moderation. Yeah. It's just nothing should.
I don't drink on a Tuesday. And then you're like, okay, but Saturday I'll take over my Tuesday. And you're like, you don't have to do that.
And then you're sick till Tuesday because you're hungover because you drank all the things because they're off limits. I can have a bottle of wine open in my fridge and not feel like I got to drink it tonight because tomorrow's not a drinking day. It's just it has less power over me, I will say, because it's just wine. It's not like, no, it's a Thursday. No, it's fine. It's fine. Holding on to extra stress about something that you ate or something that you drank is going to produce cortisol, which is a stress hormone that makes you hold on to fat. And when I lived the way I used to live, I lived in a constant state of stress always. Like, where's the menu? I had to look at the menus. I had to write down my calories. I just always like calculating. You can't live that way. That is working against you. And when you let go of the stress, nothing is off limits. Take that second to check in. If you're hungry, eat something. Don't ignore that hunger cue because you're trying to save your calories like I used to. If you're satisfied, not full, satisfied, it's like, stop eating. And if you put muscle on your body, I can tell you that in an hour, you're going to finish it because you're going to be hungry again because your metabolism will pick up. And I maintain my weight, enjoying my life. And I never feel deprived. I don't overdo it because I have what I want every day. And it's been working for me. And there's no way I cannot share this message of balance that I found at 40. When I was like my 20s and 30s, I was doing it the complete opposite way, the way that women have been taught our whole lives. There's a different way.
Yeah. Like, I don't choose the salads anymore.
Good.
The shit that tastes good.
Fish tacos with all the things.
You're amazing.
Yes.
Erin.
And you probably.
You're great. It's right. Like, it's a message. You're not telling people you have to do this. You're just sharing what has worked and what feels good. And I think the cortisol part too is super important because you're right. When you're like, oh, I just ate that, tomorrow I have to make sure I run in the morning, or I have to get, it's like, no, if you're running for just feeling good, like I lift weights because I think for my mental health, it's just like my time away with the kiddos.
Yeah.
Like, that's my time. And it's like, if you can get to that mental state where it's not always like a chore, and I can see why the calories are a trigger for you because you were doing it for so long. Like, it's just like, you're like,
it makes me question like, oh, maybe I shouldn't get this. Yeah. I'm like, no, this is what I want. Don't look at the calories. Like, why does it have to be right there? I want to be like, just cover up half the menu. Yes. And I run for my mental sanity. There is nothing better than coming back home from a run. And like, I'm better. I'm like more locked in with my kids because it's my time. I don't run for weight loss. I lift a few days a week. I'll go on a run, or it's for the like endorphins, like how great you feel after a workout. I'm not thinking like, oh, I ate this pizza last night. I need to run for
Yeah.
90 minutes. And that's how I used to live. Never found what I was chasing. I've achieved it by listening to my hunger cues, putting putting muscle on my body, eating more often, and enjoying my life. And now it was like, my body's like, okay, here you go. Here's what you've been trying to get for 20 years. And now, because we trust you and you're not throwing up your food or over exercising, I take care of my body. And it was like, my body went to where it's supposed to be and it stays there.
Yeah. Because it's the only place we have to live in is our body.
Yes, exactly. So stop abusing it.
Yeah. I think that's so important. You're amazing. Your book is Squats and Margaritas.
Yes. A Journey to Finding Balance. It's on Amazon.
Tell us where we can find you.
I am Squats and Margaritas on Instagram and Facebook. I believe I'm Squats and Margs on TikTok. And my website is squatsandmargaritas.com. I have merch. You can get my book there and then just my blog. But most of the things are on Instagram. And my podcast is Squats and Margaritas, wherever you get your podcasts.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
I appreciate you taking the time today and jumping on Zoom. I hope we can have another chat soon. You can find Erin on Not a Great Whisperer, katieray.com, at The Real K Ray. We're at BKN Creative Studios recording today. You are amazing and have been such a pleasure. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.